Hi there YouTube! So, it's been a while since you've seen me on my channel, and that's because I'm working on this review, ignoring my massive Bionicle collection, the nano blocks that are in the corner there, and I'm just trying to finish off building the last model, because as you'll see in that review, nano blocks is totally different to LEGO, and so that's what I've been doing while I've been away. But I went out to my local Kmart today and found these bad boys, along with some other Thomas Mini goodness, but in this video we'll be taking a look at these. Now, although you may have not seen them in the flesh before, I certainly have, and that's because a friend of mine in New Zealand, Dieselworks123, feel free to go check his review of these out as well, actually found these first, and as far as I know, actually made the first review of any kind on the internet of these launcher sets. Now, sorry if I'm getting this wrong to any other YouTubers out there, this is the first Australian review of these. So, what are you waiting for? Let's take a look at the Thomas, Percy, and Diesel 10 Minis launcher sets. So if you've been following the Thomas Minis, you'd know that Diesel 10 was actually a bit of a surprise, and he hadn't actually been, kind of advertised to be coming. So the first thing I want to look at quickly though is with these is the box. Now the first thing I can say is that they were hanging, they're designed to be hung, and there's a whole lot of bloat. This is the actual toy, everything else is air. Under here you can see this is all air. All this stuff at the top here, all air. If we have a look at the back, we can see engines from the first waves of the Thomas Minis, i.e. the 2015 waves, your classic other minis sold separately, and then quick amount of instructions about how to get this guy to do what you want him to. Alright, nothing particularly exciting. The only interesting thing that I thought was the fact that this says it's been imported by Mattel Canada. So it would seem from this, judging again by the fact it says Service Fisher-Price US and Canada, this is the direct Canadian version of this that's come to Australia, not a specific Australian version, which is a little bit interesting, although I haven't actually been paying attention if that's been the case for all minis, so let me know if you've noticed that on any of that stuff. Alright, so that's enough of the box, let's get to what's inside. So with these guys out of the packaging, you can see that they are actually all exactly the same mold. The only part that's different is the painted / sticker detailing that they've used to decorate these, and some of the plastic colours, for example, the handles. So taking the engines out of the way, I will come back to them later, you can see that the basic idea for the launcher is you've got a wheel here, assuming it's a Thomas kind of wheel because it's got the coupling rod. You've got a couple of gears along the top here. You've got what is probably meant to be a cab. It looks like it's meant to be a cab because that's Thomas's two whistles, though maybe that's the only merchandise you see those two whistles on. Thomas's dome. And then again, more kind of cab details, but then there are also piston details as well. The gears, you've got the red button on the side. Now, interestingly enough, as far as I can ascertain, these side stickers are stickers, those ones are stickers, whereas this is actually painted on the top. So that's an interesting detail. If we have a look down at the legal blah blah, we can see it's 2015. Awesome, cool, fine, dandy. You've got an opening door, nothing really exciting to look at on the front here, but it does close nice and tight, so it's not going to accidentally open when you've got a mini inside, and it does allow you to put a mini in there for storage. So that's nice. In terms of this handle, I mean, I'm never a fan of these belt clips. I think they're quite silly, and I've never seen a kid walk around with them on there, or ever had one on my belt. But you know what? You've got that included. It's this thing. I'm going to agree with Dieselworks123 here. I thought this was going to be the pullback mechanism, but no, it's simply this button. That's what allows you to fire the locomotive inside. Quick look at Percy. Again, it's exactly the same. You've just got some unique Percy kind of details here. Percy's configuration along the top. Same deal around the other side. And then Diesel 10's nice looking pinchy on the top there. As you can see, it's got a little bit of battle damage on it, which is actually quite nice. Interesting that his actually says D10 on the side, which is not something that Diesel 10 actually has on the side of him. So, interesting that they wrote that on there. But yeah, in terms of how the launchers look, pretty cool. In terms of the engines, again, very interesting. You can see here that this is a classic style, as it was referred to last year, Thomas Mini. exactly the same face, exactly the same colouring. The only difference is this puffing smoke here. So you can see that it's got this kind of like steam, or this whooshing style of steam, which has led, you know, to this being an exclusive mini to this launcher set. So that's what that Thomas looks like. You can see that steam rushing off the side. Percy's the same again, the same with his classic version all the way around, again, except for those steam details printed on the side. Same classic Percy face from the minis. Same very high level printing, high quality printing, as we come to expect from this line of toys. Got all around. Diesel 10 being the surprise, and being a Diesel's a little bit different. He's got some sparks and what looks like kind of soot or maybe smoke coming along the side. That again looks really nice. Still lamenting the lack of windows painted here, but anyway. Is that a derpy-eyed Diesel 10? Ooh, I think my Diesel 10's a bit derpy-eyed. You guys might be able to tell that better than me, but I think that is the first derpy-eyed Thomas Mini I've seen in the flesh. Interesting. Now, the reason that happens is because Diesel 10's got a plastic molded face that's then printed onto, rather than the other Thomas ones, which are actually all printed on by the computer. So there you go, derpy-eyed Diesel 10. Awesome, even cooler. There you go, you can see again, you've got that sparking detail. So nothing particularly exciting in the way of the actual locomotives. They are nice, but they're nothing like the absolutely zany kind of themes that we saw throughout last year, and we will continue to see this year. So, now you're wondering, do these launchers actually work? So the way these launchers work is actually quite interesting. What you can see is on the inside, you've got a kind of tweezer element here, which actually clips in to the coupling prod, knob, hook, that's what I'm looking for, on the back of any engine. And you just slide it in like so, and whooshka! Thomas, as you can see now, is quite secured. Those little side tracks just keep his wheels flat on the ground so he doesn't spin off to the top, but you can see that he's quite safe in there, particularly if you close the door. This Thomas is not only not going to fall out, but he's also not going to rattle around and make a lot of noise, which is good if you don't want your engine to get scratched or damaged while you're carrying around on your belt. Although that damage is definitely going to come when you actually use the launching function, because as you can see here, yep, intense power. These things shoot out like there's no tomorrow. I'm just going to load Percy up. Again, he works in the Thomas one. All the engines work in the different ones, it doesn't matter. And I'll just put Diesel 10 through as well, just to show you. These guys shoot out with a lot of force. I imagine there's quite a strong spring in this, and for something which is this big, I would hope so. And it's definitely enough force to really get your minis racing and zooming, and so I imagine kids would have a lot of fun playing around with these, because it does allow you to kind of utilize the Hot Wheels kind of element and vibe that these minis kind of give across with their oversized wheels and their very, very good rolling ability. So yeah, these as launchers work very, very well. So overall, what are my thoughts on Thomas Mini's launchers? Well, the first thing I have to say is that when I first saw them, I really only wanted them for the exclusive minis inside. I wasn't massively fazed by the kind of vibe they gave off. On the one hand, I think they're far too big for what they do. The spring-loaded launcher, is huge, right? Like, compared to Thomas, you can see that Thomas slides in even all the way, only about halfway into it, which means you've got all this back section and this hook, which protrude out, and that makes it quite a hefty, and I don't know if that's intentional, kind of item, but also just feels like a lot of wasted plastic and time, because, it could have served its purpose being much more open, much more simple, and much more portable and cheaper as well. Because I think the real biggest turn off with these minis launches is that here in Australia, they're $10. So for $10, you're spending approximately $2.50 to $3 on the mini, and then you're spending between, $6 and $7 on the actual launcher section. And to me, that just doesn't add up. You can get, you could buy these 3 minis and still have money left over to save towards your next mini, or you could buy the mini and the launcher. So I don't think the value is quite there. Especially because although these are nicely detailed, they don't really do much apart from just shoot out the launcher, because I think personally the whole carry along feature is pretty useless. So what I would recommend if you're a parent or a casual collector of the minis, or a kid, there are kids who watch my channel, sure, and you want to play with your minis, I would just pick one of your 3 favorite, and just get that one, because as far as I can tell, all the minis, they're all the same mold, so all the minis should be compatible with them, although I'm interested to see if the big ones like Flynn fit inside, although hopefully they will. So you can launch your minis, any mini, with the Thomas launcher. You don't need the Percy one for Percy, etc, etc. So if you are just in it to get the launcher, I would just buy one and not worry about the others. If you're a collector like me and you really, really want these exclusive print minis, I still don't quite think the prints are cool enough to warrant the price tag. I think they're nice, but they're also quite subtle, and there are a lot more exciting prints and variations on the minis that you can buy. You could have bought last year, and you can still buy this year in the Thomas Minis world. So overall, I actually don't really recommend these. I think, I don't regret buying them for sure. But I really don't think they offer quite the value that they set out to. And I think particularly because the Thomas Minis franchise still doesn't really have a developed track system or anything like that, these launches kind of feel out of place and just don't quite hit the mark for me. But hey, let me know your thoughts. Do all those cool things you do on YouTube, subscribe, comment, like. Commenting is the real thing that I like, because that way I can find out if you think these are as good as value or as bad as value as I do. And, of course, thanks for sticking around and watching my channel. New videos coming up soon. There's a new Thomas Mini one that's going to be following right after this, which will probably be very interesting. And, as always, thanks for watching. That's all we've got time for. This is Extreme Trains.